Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us. Very happy to be here. My name is Simone Romano, and I'm a developer relations manager at IoTeX. Do any of you has ever heard about IoTeX? Raise your hand. Do you know IoTeX? Cool. Okay. So IoTeX started and is still a layer 1 blockchain, a pre-established one that was launched in 2018 as the efficient, fast, cheap trust layer for IoT applications that wanted to intersect with blockchain. And then after we did a lot of research on the hardware side, we even designed and mass manufactured some IoT devices to prove the technology that we were researching, how to design IoT devices that were well-designed, Web3 ready, that could generate data to be used on smart contracts. And now today, I want to talk about what is DePIN and about this new protocol that we have been working on the last 1.5 years that puts everything together in terms of connecting machine and real-world data with blockchain applications and allow the creation of machine economies. So DePIN stands for Decentralized Network, Physical Network Infrastructures. And it's a space where machines in the real world, the utility that these machines generate and token economies converge together to basically bridge the Web3 with real-world economies. So let's take a quick look at what are the features or what are the different aspects of a DePIN project. And every DePIN project, and there are actually many already on the market, you will discover soon, every DePIN project is composed of 4 main aspects. Usually you have at least a token economy, where you have always a token economy on the blockchain that at least includes some token rewards that incentivize the deployment of an infrastructure in the real world. So incentivizes people to deploy their part of the infrastructure in the real world. And while this infrastructure gets running with usually machines that can be routers, can be sensors, right, that provide the utility, then you have more stakeholders interested in into leveraging this utility. For example, developers, builders, or just end users that want to leverage the utility of this infrastructure. And so the usage of this infrastructure generates fees that support the token economy for incentivized miners. So it makes the system self-sustainable. And then with the growing utility of the infrastructure, and this will also increase the demand of the token, which increases the value of the token, which eventually grows the incentive for more people to join in the infrastructure and deploy more elements of this infrastructure, basically closing this DePIN flywheel, putting it in motion. In this simple slide, just to remind everybody how big is the real-world economy market versus what the Web3, DeFi, cryptocurrency market is today. And that we should always think of ways to connect the Web3 infrastructures to real-world infrastructures to make it possible for Web3 to actually drive parts of our real-world economy, which holds an immense potential for the Web3 economy to grow. This is a slide where we have collected some popular applications that fall under the DePIN umbrella. On the left side, you for sure will recognize some projects who started with decentralizing digital services in the real world. For example, decentralized storage systems like Filecoin, for example, or decentralized computation, or providing decentralized network services like DNS, for example. On the right side, you see some more interesting applications when they started decentralizing networks of sensors or machines. You may probably recognize some names there too. For example, maybe Helium is there. And so this can be decentralized networks of network connectivity or network coverage, like Helium. Can be networks of weather stations, networks of GPS location services, for example. And then in the middle, there is a small area where you see infrastructure, and that's where our new protocol that is called WebStream actually lives, because it's an infrastructure that facilitates the creation of these types of applications so that you don't have to build an infrastructure for running your own DePIN project. So apart from those pretty popular ones, there are many other small and medium-sized DePIN projects that have been started in 2022, 2023, and we really believe at IoTeX that this space is going to lead next Web3 wave, because that's about real-world adoption of blockchain technology. So let's take another quick look at how these DePIN applications are created today, right? How, at a very high level. Usually, as I said, there are usually some devices or machines in the real world, and there is a token economy on the blockchain, on one blockchain, and then usually there is a centralized cloud. It's typically a cloud that is in charge for collecting the data from these devices to process this data and take some decisions about if and how much rewards the owner of the specific device is should be paid, right? And then triggers this on the blockchain, this transfer on the blockchain. And usually on the blockchain, you only have probably just a token that is transferred to the owners of the machines. So this design is, of course, you are for sure familiar with the limitations of centralized infrastructures. So they provide no trust, because of course anybody can fine-tune the code, for example, for increase the rewards for themselves, right? Or it could be hacked and you even never know about it because there is no transparency. It's centrally managed. And clearly, these infrastructures are designed for the specific application that they are serving. And so other DApps cannot, for example, leverage the information that's in that cloud to grow the ecosystem in these applications. In the same way, more devices or data sources cannot easily join this ecosystem. And so it's pretty limited. Of course, not even talking about privacy concerns. So one might say, okay, this type of centralized cloud should be decentralized to collect the data and take decisions and then trigger on-chain applications, on-chain transactions. So how can we decentralize this cloud? It's not an easy task because machines and IoT data poses lots of challenges, and we know that blockchain is not ideal for these types of applications. So that cloud cannot be a blockchain because blockchain cannot, let's say, efficiently receive high volumes of data, and it cannot efficiently process this data. It's expensive, it's slow, and by the way, it's also not privacy preserving because it's public. So how to solve this problem? One type of research we have been leading in the last years from 2019 to 2021 was the research on the hardware side. So as I said, we even manufactured devices that we call Web3 devices to lead the space and explain how an IoT device should be built to be Web3 friendly, how to make these devices trusted, and the data that they produce trusted by a smart contract, so that you can make sure it's not been tampered with, and you can make sure it's coming exactly from the source, the device that was supposed to generate that data. But still, these features, this hardware research, while it's very desirable in a machine economy project, it does not solve the problem. Because anyway, this data, even if you can trust it, cannot be sent directly to a blockchain for the problems I've mentioned before. There are other projects that have been researching some solutions to how to make sure that this data can be trusted. They use, for example, a sample-based approach, where there are some nodes in the infrastructure that trigger some measurements or just monitor some data incoming from devices to verify that this data is actually respecting the protocol that the devices were supposed to execute. But this is a complex infrastructure. You have nodes that are supposed to do this verification. It should be decentralized, and also they should be indistinguishable from other nodes that are actually using the infrastructure. So it's pretty complex. So we at IoTeX are building this protocol, this infrastructure called WebStream, and we believe a lot in the zero knowledge types of validity proofs. This is a very high potential technology, crypto technology, that is being adopted and researched every day in the blockchain space, and we are using it to build this infrastructure, which is basically a network where machines can send their data, and this infrastructure can process the data to take their decision. For example, to be more concrete, right? This data could be, for example, imagine a decentralized Uber application where everybody can join with their car and start driving people from there to their destinations, right? In this case, the car could prove to this infrastructure with data how many drives I've done in a day or in a month, how many miles I've been driving, how many successful rides I did, how many I rejected, whatever data you can think of in a decentralized, in a Uber type of application. This data needs to be processed, even with AI, right? So this infrastructure can receive this data, process it according to some logic, depending on our application, and finally generate a small, compact, zero-knowledge proof, which is this cryptographic element that then can be sent to a smart contract, and a smart contract can actually verify that this proof is valid, and then you can trigger your own chain finance that is related to this application. For example, distributing payments from users that used the car to the car owner, right? Based on top of these proofs. So eventually that's how WebStream looks like. It's a network of nodes that can compute data that comes from devices in the real world and generate some small compact proofs that can go on any of the supported blockchains. The IoTeX blockchain is not the only blockchain supported. Actually, Polygon, Ethereum, Arbitrum, Solana, many other blockchains are supported for the token economy part. And this type of infrastructure is actually trustworthy because it uses zero-knowledge proofs. It's highly composable because any other DApp can decide to read these ZK proofs and provide some more utility on the blockchain based on these proofs. And you can also use these proofs to tokenize like the behavior of the user or even the income of the user, and then use it into DeFi applications. And it's also developer friendly because we have provided a lot of developer tools. For example, WebStream Studio that allows to deploy your logic into this infrastructure easily using a nice UI that defines all your logic and what your application should do when something happens. And we are also releasing an exchange for this infrastructure that shows the number of devices, the number of data messages, the number of total projects, and every single data transaction that has been sent to the infrastructure. And we also released this product called the DePIN Scan. You can go to depinscan.io, which is built on top of this infrastructure using the data to provide a public list of all these DePIN projects, how many devices they have, how much you can earn by buying these devices and being part of their infrastructure. It provides a nice worldwide map of all the devices of all these projects, where they've been deployed in the world. And it's a good one-stop point for investors to identify growing and successful applications in this DePIN space. And finally, of course, we are not alone building in this space. There are many projects that, of course, we are happy that came to us, reached out to us to work together to either migrate their project to our infrastructure or to build totally new projects in this space using this infrastructure. These projects that all go under the DePIN umbrella work in the healthcare, in the automotive, environmental, smart home, connectivity, smart cities, whatever, like application in the real world that makes use of devices and wants to become decentralized and leverage blockchain incentives for the self-sustainability of their project. Some of these are small, some are much bigger. All of them are working together with us to push forward this space and make it more and more simple to create these types of application where everybody can just, buy a device and mine the data that this device generates and create these new community-owned public infrastructures. I think that's all. I hope it was interesting enough. You can contact me on Twitter or LinkedIn. If you are interested in IoTeX, there are some, they moved around, but there are some links there. The IoTeX main website, IoTeX.io. As I said, it's layer 1. You can buy the IoTeX token everywhere. It's supported on any exchange, and this is not financial advice, just saying that it's a layer 1 blockchain. There is a native token. It's a smart contract platform. It's compatible with Ethereum if you are a builder. It's very fast, 5-second transaction confirmation, and extremely cheap in fees. And if you are a builder and specifically interested in WebStream, in this protocol, you can go to the developer portal to start building, or you can go to the DevNet website where you can see the WebStream Studio and start looking around and see how it works. I think that's all. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Awesome.